Whether to advance, one major part of his agenda from the very beginning, the Stephen Miller wing of his agenda, or just to distract you from his failures on coronavirus, Donald Trump announced yesterday that, in light of the attack from the invisible enemy, as well as the need to protect the jobs of our great American citizens, I will be signing an executive order to temporarily suspend immigration into the United States. Like all of it. He's just going to sign an executive order to end all, because of the attack from the capital I invisible, capital E enemy. I know it's a small thing and I shouldn't get hung up on it, but it is the ramblings of an insane person to continue to refer to it as the invisible enemy. By the way, I saw Sean Hannity last night called it the invisible enemy as well, because you have to be as crazy as the person you worship, or at least pretend to get paid.
Yeah.
And so, JR, we got details, but it was just a bomb he dropped yesterday. Oh yeah, immigration done. We're gonna close that off.
Well, yeah, immigration we're done until we get a couple of other ways to find more loopholes for the right people in the right circumstances, to help those same people in the right circumstances, but not real people, just the folks that need to use immigration to continue to facilitate their own business and pushing things forward, not because of any people. So it's almost an automatic admission that this is something that can be formed to whatever thing that helps him out specifically. So maybe the immigration thing isn't a problem as long as it's not a problem for him. That's what we're going to find out.
Exactly. And so look, as of right now, there's a lot that we don't know, because this is almost like anything that Trump says he's going to do. He tweets about it seemingly randomly or makes a comment at a press conference. Nobody on his team knows what he's talking about or what he was going to do. A lot of the time, you just never hear about it again. But we do know that they despise immigrants, and so that means that this has a higher than average probability of actually happening. So what will actually happen? Well, there's not much that we know, but here are the details we have. The Department of Homeland Security is reportedly still working on the order, probably as of when he tweeted. Little information is known about its scope or when it will be signed. The Agriculture Department is working with the White House to publicly clarify that farm workers will be exempt, according to a lobbyist, because importantly, lobbyists on an issue important as this should be the ones who are in charge of this. And they want to shut down immigration. By the way, not to stop coronavirus from getting in. After all, like close to 1 million Americans have it reported. So it's not going to have any effect on that. But it is useful to imply that foreigners are the problem if you're a Republican running for re-election. But we do want to make sure that these industries aren't hurt because, we both rely on outside workers. I mean, the farms are going to need it definitely. Mar-a-Lago is going to need it. So there are going to be exemptions that have to be made, JR.
Yeah, and again, ding, ding, ding. Got a first one already. And I know we're going to get to Tom Cotton's thoughts, but this flies right in the face of that aspect as well. So, yeah, farm workers, first of all, because, hey, all of us Americans looking to get these jobs, still not flocking to go to do farm work, which when they say farm work, maybe your mind goes to something like farming and you like run a farm. Maybe you benefit from it directly. Mm-hmm. No, they're talking about the folks that they have come in and do all the dirty work and they barely pay for.
Exactly. Exactly. The people that allow our country to exist, that are demonized when they're not convenient, barely protected insofar as they can continue to be exploited by the industries that are using them. And that's it. That's the only way that they get acknowledged. Here's a little bit more of what we know. Other aspects of the order remain unclear inside the administration, including what legal authorities the president will rely upon in the order, and what other elements of immigration, including family immigration and potential exemptions, might be included. So, of course, what legal authority he will use to do this is a complete afterthought, and one would think that a movement that has been so harsh on overreaches of presidents when they go beyond what the scope of their power is supposed to be, they just tear into presidents for doing that. Now it's like, at best, an afterthought, and I have a feeling that Hannity tonight, his broadcast will not be, well, I want to know, what exact statute are you using? What code are you using, huh? You tyrant, you king? Kind of doubt that he's going to be saying that because it involves limiting immigrants. But we should also quickly acknowledge that, look, to the extent that this interferes with individuals' lives, families, things like that, it is going to be a tragedy. But there is only so much more it can do that because they have already been so successful over the past 3 years of drastically limiting all forms of immigration, not just illegal immigration, but everything. Stephen Miller isn't interested in any non-English legal immigrant from coming in. And that's seen by things such as the number of visas issued to foreigners abroad looking to immigrate into the U.S. has declined in the past 3 years by 25%. That's literally hundreds of thousands less legal, normal, 100% normal immigrants coming in. They have already been clamping down on that in every way possible. And so this is a disaster because it's part of a disastrous set of plans. But it can only do so much more because as long as they are in office, immigration is largely a thing of the past.
Yeah, so when supporters of his are looking for maybe something to go on to his way to defend him on this, or he himself, he's going to push, he's been pushing for weeks, obviously, at these briefings, that, hey, you guys know from the beginning I limited travel from Japan. I'm from Japan. I permitted travel from all overseas, and including specifically China, where it was coming from, and that's what we limited our numbers that way. Everyone was mad at me and said it was wrong and stupid, and look who's laughing now. So he's been pushing that for a while, because then he can carry that into this argument and say, you guys knew I was right about limiting travel from China, so therefore I can limit travel from any other, or from immigration totally here, because I was right about that in the first place. He's been trying to set up that narrative so that he can have this as his next step. But you've got your worry is that too many immigrants are coming in and doing all these problems in the country and destroying things. But I thought you were just saying that we're trying to reopen our economy and everything's not that bad. So if everything's not that bad and we're ready to reopen the economy, why are you worried about limiting immigration? I thought everything was great, bro. I thought we're trying to get things started by before May 1st. If everything's about to get started before May 1st, why are we worried about immigration? I thought everything was great, bro.
That is a devastating point. Like, we are ready to go right now. Every tanning salon should be open across the nation. We can't let one person from Mexico in, or the whole house of cards will come tumbling down. That is a devastating point. And again, so you're pointing out that that's obviously not the reason they're doing this. It is xenophobia and racism, and Tom Cotton provides a great example of that. So here is a tweet that he put out after Trump's tweet. He says, 22 million Americans have lost their jobs in the last month because of the China virus. Let's help them get back to work before we import more foreigners to compete for their jobs. So really fast, again, he's not calling it the China virus because he wants to be accurate. He's doing it because he wants to stimulate even more hatred and xenophobia towards Asians and Asian Americans. And really fast, Tom Cotton, there seems to be a bit of a misconception in your tweet. We are not importing foreigners because foreigners are not melons or televisions, okay? They are coming to be a part of our country, to contribute to our country. Socially, culturally, and in terms of their work as well. Financially, too. They are coming to do all of that because in the world, people move between countries. That's a thing that happens, that has happened for as long as we've had people and countries. We don't import them. They're not products. It's not supply and demand, okay? But he talks about it as that because, again, if you talked about them as humans, you wouldn't talk about them as products. You either see them as one or the other thing.
I need specifics from Tom Cotton of which jobs he's talking about. Especially, again, right now, we're complaining about, as he pointed out, we're complaining about the number of jobs that have been lost. And in those fields, which ones of those jobs are going to be suddenly usurped by these immigrants coming in? And what percentage of that is happening? I mean, you're a senator. Maybe you have some information behind this. Maybe you have some kind of facts that form your basis of opinion enough to tweet about this. China virus, as you're calling it. So go ahead and just give us the full facts. You're supposed to be a responsible adult. You can't just say random things. I don't know why I'm saying that, because we have a president that does that tenfold. So it doesn't really matter.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.